I was watching a short little clip of a part in an episode of Supernatural when Dean Winchester talked to God about, people praying to you, worshiping you, and starting wars in your name. Um, and the person that played God pretty much gave an answer that got me thinking. And it holds a lot of truth where, before Jesus and during the time of Jesus, well, Jesus being the last time that God, it was our last chance before God stepped away. Um, Before, he was very hands-on, and, the flaming bush and everything. He was very hands-on, and I think Jesus maybe was the last, the last try, the last conversation, the last words, trying to turn his children back to him. But, and maybe in not us not really waking up, he was forced to walk away. And it makes sense. It's another form of disowning. Turning your back on, calling the cops on your loved ones that steal from you or do drugs, thinking it's, going to help. I mean, he had to step away because, I think at one time he did have his hands on, on the world a lot more than he does now. And enabling is definitely an aspect I think before he was doing. He was maybe too involved, and maybe and it goes along my thought process that I do believe there is or was a God. If he's still around, that's the question for me. Not the fact, not the, if he is, no, a real. I think he is, but what is he doing right now compared to what he was doing back in the day? So I do believe in it, and it gives the whole meaning. That he's up there, watching, still ruling heaven, but he doesn't really get involved in things that happen on Earth, and I think that gives a whole new meaning to free will, um, giving us free will to do what we want, hoping that this beautiful race is made does the right thing. But unfortunately, we have a tendency to do the wrong thing more and at bigger, scales. But yeah, it definitely got me thinking about. I mean, I've always had a theory if maybe he's just left, like left, or possibly died. Um, there has been a thought, maybe he stepped away now. He's still up there. He's just watching. He's not really being involved in an aspect. Um, and maybe that is the free will is actually the final test to see if the human race will change or not. And if it's not, he already has a plan. I mean, he already has a plan for if we do turn to him and follow him, and he has a plan if when we don't. Um, I don't know if that goes on with his original plan and how he wanted things back when Adam and Eve, first walked the planet. I don't know what his plan was then. Or maybe this was all his plan because maybe he knew Lucifer was gonna trick Eve, and Eve was going to talk Adam into it, and Adam was gonna be gullible and take the bite, and they were gonna fall, and we were all gonna sin. Maybe this was all his plan. Um, but then again, if he does step away, just let things play out. The last 1,000 years are ours, and we can do whatever we want. but there's consequences. There's a price to pay. There's laws and rules and guidelines to follow everywhere. And I think when it comes to big scale of things, especially when you're on that level, your will is shape. It gives form, gives being. So it holds a lot of weight when you go to the bank. Um, but I think it definitely with everything, especially definitely with how everything's going on in the world, I definitely do think maybe he stepped away. I mean, there's possible for other ones, but like I said, I do believe there is something up there. Um, who he is, what he is, where he is, I don't know, but I do believe there is or was. And definitely that whole video definitely gave me that little video of Supernatural gave me a twist in my brain. But yeah, I mean, we have caused a lot of war, and I mean it was back in the what was the Salem witch trials, 18th century, 1800s, maybe 16th, 17th, 1800s. I can't remember exactly when it was, but everyone knows the Salem witch trials, and during that time, women were believed to be witches. Saint worshippers, in manner of speaking, dark arts. And they were burnt at the stake, and some, were put rocks around them, and thrown in the water, and if they drowned, they were saved. If they didn't, then they were the devil, and then they were burnt at the stake, which that made no sense. And I mean, with the Bible, I mean, you can also read, and there's talk in there about witches and seers and scribes that people of the cloth and people of the crown would go to, typically in secret, because it was outlawed for so, but they would go to them. So I mean, like, and I mean, it's not the fact that Christians or most religions, I think typically Abraham religions, it's not that they don't believe in magic. They believe in magic 100%. They believe in witchcraft. They believe in spells. They believe in demons. They just see it as evil. So, I mean, on that note, then honestly, there has to be some truth, in a nutshell, of, you know, that. And it's also, there's been talk about how, was it Raphael? I think one of the fallen angels that gave the knowledge of the stars to man when it came to the science, astrological, numerology, witchcraft. I mean, that was all knowledge. Technically, that was of the heavens, and I think that's more the aspects is that we are not. One, I don't think a lot of. I mean, a lot of us are. The majority are not awakened enough. Have the enough brain power to contemplate and understand. That the true knowledge of all that stuff, because there is truth in it. I do believe. And I don't really say. I mean, I do. I don't really think not believing in it. I don't think that really protects you. But yeah, I mean, religion has definitely been a focal point on trying to give meaning to everything, which evolution is science. I think is basically this. I mean, it's just the understanding of miracles and God and religion from the understanding of God and all that we can actually fully grasp. I think that's all science and evolution is the understanding of everything that we can actually understand, that we can grasp and give reasoning or at least guesswork to. But yeah, definitely think that the whole God thing has definitely been on a lot of people's minds. I mean, whether you look at it aspects of God is real, of Christianity's truth, even from the aspects of where I'm gonna go when I die. Um, that's, I mean, I think everybody from, you know, I mean, you don't have to believe in God or think about God all the time. You just think about the great aspects of when I die, where are you going? Or you can just say, fuck it, you know, where I go is when I go when I die, and just live life how you wish. Is that really living? You know, I'll be fine with just about any religion as long as it's not atheist. As long as I die and I go somewhere, I think I'll be content in a nutshell. And I mean, I've already made peace with if I am wrong and I go to hell, then that's where I'll be. I don't know. I mean, I like to think that if there is heaven and hell, I want to say I would go to heaven. But in a nutshell, everything I've heard about heaven doesn't really sound like a place I want to go. I mean, I can't really get a full answer on what heaven has in store. Everybody knows what hell is. All right, you go there and you're paying and being tormented for all eternity for your sins. Now, can you leave? Can you, by chance, be forgiven to that aspect to where you are actually taken out of hell? I mean, I think if you come to repent truly, and maybe have been down there for a minute, I don't know if you. I mean, I think it's mainly just about, you know, if you can repent truly, I think you can probably get out. I don't think it happens very often, because I think most people that go to hell are stuck in their ways. So I don't see many repenting very soon. But when it comes to heaven, there's not much that's known. Like, what are you gonna do in heaven when you die? Like, do you just sing in the heavenly choir? Do you just go into this giant, heavenly, beautiful church and pray? What's that one movie? What Dreams Are Made Of? I think with Robin Williams. I mean, do you get your own personal heaven? Is it like supernatural and like you're at your own personal heaven? Um, are you gonna be in this giant city? I mean, obviously, I don't think that there's no smoking, to my knowledge, up there. Or maybe there is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, liquor and all that. I mean, you're allowed to get, you know, you're allowed to drink. I mean, I think you're allowed to be married. You're not allowed to get drunk. That's what I think that God has a problem with getting plastered and drunk. Alright? You want to drink and lay back and just sing songs and be merry with people and be happy. I don't see him having a problem with that. I mean, he turned water into wine, so I mean, like, he can't be completely against liquor. Um, but obviously, there's no porn up there. I don't really think you need. I mean, there's no guns, so all those true patriots, you know, American bred, you know, truck loving, hunting. I mean, lovers. I mean, like, I don't know what you're gonna do up there. I mean, sit in your boat and fish. I mean, if there's even, I mean, are you allowed to do that? I mean, what do you do in heaven? Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what you're gonna do in hell. You're gonna go there and pay for your sins in your own personal hell. I think. So it would be. I guess it would be the same in there. You get rewarded and blessed in your own personal heaven. I mean, what do you do in heaven? What I mean, and that's one of the things. Like, who I am down here is who I am. I don't know if my sense of humor and my thought process are. I mean, I don't know how well I would mingle up there. I mean, I don't think I want to. I mean, how I know of hell, I don't really. I mean, most of the people I think down there, I don't particularly want to hang out with. I mean, have a chit chat with maybe to understand, you know, why they, who they are. But I mean, to hang out with them and for all eternity, no, I'm good. I mean, I don't. I mean, I used to be one of those kids like, yeah, I got a beach house down in hell. You know, I can't wait to fucking go. You know, see you there. You know, but yeah, I don't really know if I want to be disemboweled, eaten from the inside, or you know, whatever, for all eternity. Or hopefully it's not like Little Nicky. You know, like I mean, so I mean that's heaven and hell. You got God. What? That's another thing. Like, back in the day, you had all these stories about, um, was it, I think it was Abraham that was gonna sacrifice his son, but then was stopped right in the last minute, and was told he proved his love for God. I don't know. I don't think I could do that. Um, there's the guy that got eaten by the whale. There's the blind man or crippled that he healed. There's the little girl or man that he raised from the dead or something like that. He raised from the dead. Um, he turned the water into wine. He's made fish and bread into plenty for all to eat. Through the power, Moses split the Red Sea. Noah made the ark. Um, who was it? Peter. Who was the one that was blessed to baptize Jesus? Um, the 12 disciples. Once Jesus, what happened to them? After they just went, like they just died horribly. Like after Jesus, was gone, it's like they all died horribly. Um, Mary Magdalene, some say she was a whore, some don't. Some believe that she was the woman that washed Jesus' hair, some don't. Some say she was his wife. Others say that she was the 13th disciple, which I don't believe so much. I don't like in history and religion and evolution. No, the men are the superiors in mind, body, and soul, and I think women are the more valuable in life, being and purpose. Um, because without women, we can't repopulate the human race. All right, obviously without us, they can't populate the human race or survive from all the elements in the world. All right, we need each other, and that's why I go with the whole mother and father in my belief. But yeah, when it comes down to the Christianity, and that's another thing. The whole Jewish and Catholic and Christian. They are all flip floppity flop. I mean, Jews don't believe in Jesus being the Messiah. They don't believe in him. I think Catholics have all these saints. When it comes to Christian, I think they believe in Jesus and they believe in God and Jesus, and that's it. And through the Son, you get to the Father, and through the Father, you get to the kingdom. So honestly, everything. Most of the stuff I believe, I get from Christianity. Some other stuff mainly that I believe in, I get from Wiccan, Hindu, Muslim, a little bit from Satanic. Satanic. One of Satanic or Satanism. I get little bits and pieces of stuff that I agree with from all religions. I don't think there's there's not one religion I agree with them the most. Because I think honestly, most religions, especially most religions I believe, are saying pretty much the same thing. Um, I do believe that it goes, the higher power, um, man, woman, child. I do think the men are guided. Um, I think men are guided, by God, and are mainly taught by God. I do think that women, in aspects, can be used by God to pass on a message to somebody. Because I think women were able to get, especially throughout life, women were able to get into places that men weren't, without being seen as a threat. Um, I also think that's the main reason why, if Jesus is an aspect, I do think there probably was a man named Jesus, and I think he was a very awakened man of the truth. I don't know about the whole Son of God, but I do think he was a person that was very awakened and gifted. And I think that's the main reason why was sent down here, like God, or whatever, set him in human form, in man form, because he was able to be more strong and be able to take most shit and let it brush off, where women are more emotional. So that's why I think, he was a man, and that's why Christianity made him a man, is because he was able to take the shit and just let it brush it off. I mean, women were a lot more emotional, so that's why I don't think. That's why I don't think that the Messiah was a woman. That's why I think it does go God, man, woman, child. And like I said, men are led by God, women are led by man, and women and children are led by mother. So, I mean, and that's that. And I mean, if you look through the world right now, I mean, you can see how the nuclear family was just destroyed. Why the system, I think, attacked them. They brainwashed women with the whole feminist movement, and it's been a long process. It took about 100 years, and they've just warped and brainwashed women to use them because they're easily manipulated, and to propaganda. I mean, look at Eve. That's why Lucifer went to Eve and got her to eat the fruit first, and then she brought it to Adam. It's no different here. Government being, or whoever's in charge, pro, pro, programmed women, brainwashed them into hate men, destroyed men, got pregnant by them, used that to fucking build the fucking welfare, to pay into single mothers and keep fathers out, because without a strong father figure, the house collapsed. And without mothers, the house feels cold. Without that loving, nurturing, soft, calm woman in the house, it feels like a cold house. You know, especially if you're going in trying to build a family and a life, a home. Right? If you're being a single bachelor, just whatever, you know, and you have no intention of, then the cold house is not going to feel any different. So you're not really going to have a desire to go for the stars and look for a woman and have a family. So you're not going to care. But for the men out there that actually want a home and want a family, then you're going to want a woman in there that wants to stay at home, that wants to raise the kids, that wants to submit and obey and listen to you because she loves you and she chose you to lead her. Like, and he chose you because he saw in you a good wife and a good mother. Alright? And when that's all in harmony, things go great. Like, I mean, I think women do better when they're being told what to do from a man that they respect. And that was, no, that was, I mean, she was either guided by a father figure to know what to look for in a man, or she didn't have this ego on her shoulder to where she could go to her father and say, I've seen this man, I want to pursue him. I mean, back then I think, the men would go to the father, would go talk to him, or he would have her write him a note to invite him over for tea, to get to know the family. Because back in the day, like, there was no dating. Like, there was no dating. Relationship is a 1900s thing. Alright, before it was to find somebody to be with, get married, you know, and build a life and family with. That's one of the main reasons. If my daughters by chance find a man that's Christian and actually holds up to the Old Testament traditional man values, I mean, if he's a virgin, cool. Um, if he's not, I'm not that big worried. It's about his character and values that I care about more. Um, and if he wants to be with my woman, or be with my daughter, um, that I'm stoned and all that. if he wants to be with my daughter, I am not a cuck. Um, if he wants to be with my daughter, and he wants to love her and cherish her, and make her his wife, and build a home with her and a family with her, and never leave her, never cheat on her, you know, wants the best for her, and she wants to be with him and loves him and wants to submit to him, and wants to join his boat and join his family and join his path, why would anybody have a problem with that? And honestly, I mean, there's a lot I don't agree with the religion, but when you get down to the aspects and the foundation of what it's all about, it stands for, treat others as you want to be treated. Don't, no adultery. He can only have one wife. Um, he's not allowed to step out. And this was back when, the churches actually were more involved in the marriages and more involved in their community that they had. They would go to the church and talk it out, work it through. Um, and women were virgins and they wanted to be wives, they wanted to be mothers, they wanted to be there for their kids. They want, and women did not have to do much, like, not compared to men. Men had to be husbands and fathers, mothers had to be, you know, mothers had to be wives and mothers, alright? Fathers have to be husbands, fathers, providers, protectors, and the sacrifice, alright? And men don't have a problem with this. Majority decent men, especially in this modern day age, don't have a problem with it. Like, no offense, ladies, but there are way more suitable, decent, respectful men out there than there are sweet, calm, agreeable, virgin women. Alright? And let's face the facts. I don't have a problem. If my son wants to get with a woman his age and build with, and she, you know, is a decent catch or a good catch for him to have, and she's somebody that that wants to ride with him, that wants to give him this, wants to do that for him, wants to submit, wants to love him, never has no intention, no desire to look at a man, you know, that doesn't go on social media, that doesn't care to party, that is a virgin or has a low body count, that doesn't have any crazy exes, that doesn't have kids, I, and they're the same age and they want to start doing a life now. I mean, I prefer him to wait, um, to get himself more at value as a valuable, respected man that her father would be proud of her to be with. But I also understand that women are ruled by their biology. They don't have much time, you know. So that's where I think the community and the family has to come in and help out. I mean, obviously they needed to learn how to do it on their own because one day you're not going to be able to help and you're not going to be there. All right, but we're also in a different time period where it's not easy to start a family, not easy to buy a home and all that. It's expensive. I mean, I'm not going to say it's cheap nowadays, but I do think it's doable on a one income. And it might take a minute to get out there, but you'll be able to get out there, save money, go on trips, do this. You just won't be able to do anything or have fun right now. And going to see the world, doing trips, going camping, obviously it's, doing all that stuff that's fun and entertaining is obviously fun by yourself. But I've come to learn that honestly, I want to go camping. I want to go see the world with my family. I mean, with my friends.